And I'm so excited because at least this time we can now be more connected to many people about their feng shui.
If you don't want to do something, change it. If you don't want to be somewhere, move. Do whatever you can to be happy because this is it. You can't come back and do it again.
Kayo pa rin ang mag-decide kung gusto nyo maging masaya, maging malungkot. Tanggalin na yung lungkot, di ba? Tanggalin yung problema, doon ka lang sa happiness. Yun palagi ang pipiliin mo, happiness.
If you just live one way forever and you don't pivot and you don't move, you will never grow. You will just be idle. And if you are idle, then how will you progress, diba?
Pag-aralan mo yung role hindi lang mataya mo script, memorize mo, that's it. Kasi hindi lalabas sa mukha mo kung tama ba yung role na pinaportray mo. Kailangan pag-aralan mo siya, mag-research ka, mag-kausap ka ng kung ano pwede mong kausapin tao para sa role na to.
Diba, of course, love is a choice. So, syempre, since we're both part of the showbiz industry, importante para sa amin na hindi makinig sa ibang tao. It's more of like we choose to listen to each other.
Keep dreaming about the Philippines because when you wake up and when you do make good of your travel to the Philippines, we assure you of the same promise that it will be more fun and safer Philippines which you will visit.
I think OPM is evolving because we have a global audience. So there's a lot of things that is being now added into the music. The generation of today is adding a new flavor to it.
Marketing is to build awareness. Branding is tell people who you are. Find your target markets, where they are, where they gather, and what's their lifestyle.
Me as an individual, as a unique person, I feel that you are your own icon. You know, you have to have your own personality, shine, whatever.
Because for me, it's about educating ourselves because we are in two different generations. But at the end, we will embrace and kiss and say, I love you.
You know, you have to take charge of your destiny because it is your life. And ambition ka sa buhay, run after your dreams, chase your dreams, it will happen.
Changing the habits to keep your energy level balanced and take the advantage to take care of yourself, pamper yourself with shea butter. You know, it was something that I was doing a lot.
But with cooking, you know, be imaginative, be creative, explore. It's really more of just have fun with what you cook.
I want you to know that it's a hard job. So, hindi lang yan pang glamour. I think you have to be intelligent to be an actor so you can understand the character that you will do and what the director will tell you.
For me, it was all about care. I care about people. I care enough to want them to do really well. And it was that moment where I realized that I want to coach. I want to help others through coaching.
The greatest sex organ is the one between your ears, diba? Not between your legs. So that is why I decided to get a PhD in psychology and clinical psych.
During my college days, then I started buying cheap makeup, and then I started to pay. Like I could actually earn from it. So like, oh my God, I could really earn from by doing the thing that I love doing.
Pagdating ng araw, ipapakita namin sa buong mundo na kaming mga Filipina, we are good people. That is just a stepping stone for us to achieve what we want because of love for our family.
Why do we limit ourselves if you have the time and you have the skills to pursue something and your heart and your passion is still in it?
I always feel that being a woman is an advantage because you can charm your way, diba, sister?
Yeah.
If you're smart, you can do many things, no? Pretty and smart. Wow, you can do so many things.
As a model, you are expected to look a certain way. You're expected to have measurements that are at par with their standard.
Making the right choices in my career has led me to the leadership role that I am at now. No?
I look at the mirror and smile a lot. Remember, it only takes 17 muscles to smile and 46 muscles to frown.
What's nice about our industry is during recessions or during difficult times, that's where we really hunt and look for opportunities.
I want to make children happy. That is one of the most important purpose that I had. So I said, I had to teach children how to play with it.
There is something special about each one of us. And if we can share that
and have mutual benefits for each other, then that's really good. Create a win-win-win situation for everybody.
Nakaka-in-love. Nakaka-in-love. Alam mo talaga, totoo yan, Marites. When you're traveling, just the two of you, you feel young. Yung parang it was just yesterday.
There are foods that don't have to be fancy. There are foods that don't have to be complicated to be delicious. And we have to keep that part of our culinary tradition alive.
It's not always about just the work. It's about holistic wellness, right?
That's right.
It's about having a balance of, really enjoying life.
Beauty is no longer a vanity. Actually, it's an affordable luxury.
My love and greetings to you from Dubai. Of course, I'm here in the United Arab Emirates today to deliver to you another fun episode of Fortune and Feng Shui with Marites Allen. Today, mga kaibigan, I'm so excited because our guest for today is no other than Mr. Lito Gruet. He's one of the 1980s top fashion and commercial model, a founding member of PMAP, the Professional Models Association of the Philippines, who became one of the recognized TV and movie personalities of his generation. With his fame and fortune, he was caught on the web of substance abuse and eventually went into rehab for 21 years. I should say he is now clean and sober for the last 21 years. Currently, he is an anti-drugs advocate and resource speaker on drug abuse and a member of People's Volunteer Against Illegal Drugs. It is actually an anti-drug advocacy group accredited by PDEA, volunteers with the Philippine Pediatric Society Central Visayas chapter, the Mental Health Advocacy group. Now, Lito, with too many things already in his hands, is really a great guy. So he's also a contributor for newsph.org. That's a Philippine online news portal, Killing the Soul, and the marketing development and volunteer for Safe Haven Recovery Village, Drug Rehabilitation Facility, and BAI Foundation. So mga kaibigan, without further ado, let's all welcome Mr. Lito Gruet.
Hello, Marites. How are you? Thank you so much. It's really an honor. It's my honor to be part of the show. And
My pleasure.
yes, yes. And then I'm speechless when Dexter told me that if I could appear in your show. I said, wow. I said, yeah, why not? I'd
Oh
love
my
to.
gosh.
Yes,
Ako nga eh.
I would
And
love.
look at that. We are even like, even if did we talk having to wear the same color? Oh my God.
It's a good sign. Actually, it's a good sign.
It is a
I
good
believe you should know.
Yeah, it's amazing. To those who are just watching us right now, welcome to this show again, mga kaibigan. I must tell you and I must admit, I have not met Lito personally. It's of course through our common friend Dexter Alasas. Thanks, Dexter. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Dex. Yeah.
And you know, it's really like it's an amazing. I would say, Lito, it's really like destiny. You know, when your destiny aligns. And, you know, when things happen, like what I said, I'm just supposed to, I don't know whether I have to fly back to London tonight or to go back to go straight to Italy for another meeting. But I said, you know, we must do this now because today is the day where we can have the great Lito Gruet on the show. So, Lito, tell me, like what I said, it's a very good sign. Hindi po kami nag-usap. It's just the first time that we saw each other today. And look at that. We're wearing the same color, and you know that's a very good sign.
Yes, yes, I believe so.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
Lito, tell me, to those who are watching us right now, what is like, you know, I know you have like a sort of like a incredible life's journey. Can you just tell us like how you started, where you're from? You're Cebuano, right?
Yes, yes.
Ayong
I
gabi,
grew up in
ayong
Cebu. Yeah,
hapon.
mayang gabi.
Buntag sa inyong tanan. So who is Lito Gruet?
Okay, thank you again, Marites. Such a very motivating introduction. You know, I'm very humbled by it. Anyway, good evening, mayang gabi sa inyong tanan or maayong adlaw sa inyong tanan depending on where you the Visayas are staying right now. And for those that are from the zone, magandang gabi, magandang araw, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. So my name is Lito Gruet, and I grew up in Cebu City. And my parents are half Spanish, and I studied in Cebu from elementary all the way to college in University of San Carlos.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes, yeah, I wasn't able to finish my college. I only finished second year my architecture course, because I already left Cebu to go to Manila. I was like everybody else. I had my plans and dreams to become, well, an architect. And but when I did a modeling show, I was invited to do a modeling show at the then White Gold department store.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I mean,
What gold?
okay, where is it? Gaisano. I get mixed up
Yes.
between White Gold and Gaisano. Before all these big malls came, it was Gaisano that was the mall, right, in reclamation area.
Wow. Oh.
Anyway, it was like a mall show. I was paid 50 pesos to do a show. That time it was pretty good for, you know, yeah.
Wow,
It was
Is it
50
per
pesos.
show or per hour or per appearance?
Per show. So
Yes, yes.
you know, we were amateurs and all that. Were just students. So it was this Levi show that invited us, and we did weekend shows there. So we were paid 50 pesos, but we were very happy about it because it wasn't really about the money. It was more of the exposure and experience.
That's right.
And actually, that experience really got into my head. You know, I enjoyed the attention of walking and everybody looking and admiring, you know, your modeling clothes. And it got into my heart. And I said, I really want to do this later on. I just don't know how. I don't know how because I'm in Cebu. And then one time, it just occurred to me that I said, I want to try this in Manila. And I only had about 400, 500 pesos in my pocket. And I was telling my parents, or especially my mom, who's very protective, and I said, I want to try going to Manila just for a few days because I want to look for the people who asked me to join this fashion show. And my mom said, don't go because that the people there, they don't like mestizos, and the girls there, baka mapikot ka yung mga.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just gonna go there for a few days, but I left without their consent, and I took a boat and I just had 500 pesos pocket money, and that already included the fare.
Wow.
At that time, during the 80s, 500 was something already, but it's not enough to go to Manila and enjoy. So I said, I just go there, go to a friend, spend a few nights or a few days, and see if I could see that friend of mine. Maybe could do another 50 peso show with Levi's, or who knows,
Yeah.
I couldn't find because I'm a provinciano. I didn't know how to go around Manila.
How old were you then? How old were you then? If you
I was
don't mind?
21 or 20. 20
Okay,
or
hindi ka
21.
naman yung 16 or 14. So
No.
you're the right age na.
College na ako, yeah. I'm about that time. So anyway, I couldn't find them. So I said, what a shame. I said, well, I won't have enough money for 2 more days. I said, I might as well go out and enjoy. I want to try the nightlife. Okay. So I asked my friend, I said, where can I go? I want to experience a disco here in Manila. He goes, you go to before, and he goes, you just talk to the waiters because they have the entrance there is very expensive. You just look for a Visayan waiter. I'm sure there's so many Visayan waiters there, and you ask yourself to get in. So that's what I did, yeah. When I went there, sure enough, nagtanong ako sa waiter, sabi ko, sino bang Bisaya dito? So they said, ito waiter. So I befriended him. I said, can I enter without paying? Because I think it was about 100 pesos that time. It's pretty high already.
Wow.
Yeah, that disco queue was one of the top during the time. So I said, okay. I was there, and then I said, wow, it's a beautiful experience. And I had money just for one beer. The beer was in my hand for about 1 hour and a half. And I was just sipping, pretending. And there was this guy who approached me, a very small guy. And he was gay. And I thought he was trying to pick me up.
Yeah.
Really. So he approached me, and he said, excuse me, he said, are you a model? And I said, why? Parang I didn't want to sound excited.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if you want a model, here's my card. You see me tomorrow, and then there's going to be a show.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, okay. I said, deep inside, I said, this is a perfect pickup line.
Yeah.
He was trying to pick me up. And then when I went to the bathroom, I saw the card, and it said Jose Moreno, meaning to say it was Pitoy Moreno.
Wow.
So I said, is this the Pitoy, the popular Pitoy Moreno?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. So I said, okay, instead of going home, taking the boat, I said, what do I have to lose? So the next day I went to his shop in Malate. And first time in my life, I saw all the most beautiful models and all the good-looking models there. And then they made me wear a barong and goes, okay, our first show, and we will be having so many shows succeeding. I said, oh, this is great. So we went straight to Malacanang. So we did a show for President Marcos and Imelda. So every time they had visitors in Malacanang, Pitoy Moreno models together with the Bayanihan dancers were the ones presenting the show. I was paid 1,500 for a show, and at that time it was pretty big.
Yes.
I mean, compared to 50 pesos,
wow.
I was paid 1,500, and it was morning and night. So I said, I don't have to go home. So I made actually a big mistake because I gave up my my schooling. Because I was so absorbed. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So anyway, that started everything. I became a Pitoy Moreno model, and at that time, when you're a Pitoy Moreno model, you're somebody because even the top models are not chosen. Yeah, not chosen by Pitoy. Wow. You are chosen if you're a Pitoy Moreno model. So anyway, we started doing shows, and I can stay here. I already have enough money. And then that's when other designers took notice. I started modeling for the top designers in Manila. When I started to travel, I did shows in Hong Kong, in Malaysia, in Singapore.
Wow.
And after that, the commercials came in. So I did so many commercials. I was doing about 3 or 4 a month commercials.
Wow.
And then, after a while, I started coming up in magazines, and my parents, my mom was so proud of me. At first, I said, "Look, Mom, you see, you didn't want me to come now. I'm in the front cover."
Yeah.
But the thing is, I lost myself with the glamour.
With the
and
fame
the success.
and the glory.
So, yeah, yes. A typical simple provinciano is now rubbing elbows with the elite.
Was it like
The richest
immediate?
people.
Like what was the time frame between you leaving Cebu to Manila and find your luck? By the way, my next question is: would you think it was luck that has paved the way for you to, immediately, you don't have a friend to because you said you were traveling to see a friend, you didn't see him, you just tried your luck to enter.
Yes.
So all of a sudden this guy came and say, "Hey, would you like to join?" So are you saying that there was luck there after all? What do you think?
Maybe it was destiny.
It was destiny.
I don't know, because I didn't plan it and it happened.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, what are the chances of me getting into be one of the Pitoy Moreno models? So anyway, I was considered one of the top models at the time. I was one of the top 10 models at the time for the male models. And we formed this group, the Professional Models Association of the Philippines, where I'm one of the founders. So that's the PMAP. Now, movies came after. So I started doing TV shows, and I started doing, I did several movies, but I thought that I was already in a position in my life where I said I'm very successful. I was rubbing elbows with politicians, the super rich, the elite. I was rubbing elbows
You're
with all
so
of them.
comfortable in that stage of your life.
Yes. And I forgot about myself, you see. But
Okay.
then again, I did not realize that when it comes to show business and fame and success, also comes the temptation.
Yes.
So that time, everybody was using drugs, and shabu just started to come out. And I did try marijuana before, and I never got hooked. Marijuana is like high school students, starting to learn to take cigarettes, but then after a while, they graduate to taking marijuana. So I thought that I would never get hooked. But when I tried shabu, it really hit me differently because it was so good. It was so addicting that it changed my life completely. So everything that I stood for, everything that my parents taught me, everything the Catholic schools taught me about morality, about values and everything, I just threw it all aside.
Wow.
Because shabu became my God.
Oh, wow.
And that is what's been happening to most people who say that I would never get addicted, I would never get into drugs, but then you see millions get into it. When we were children, we were asked by our parents, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? So many children would say, I want to be an engineer, a doctor, a policeman, and all that, but nobody would say, I would like to become a drug addict or alcoholic.
Yes.
But then, why are there millions and millions of people suffering? So what happened was, to cut a long story short, the people I was rubbing elbows with were no longer the elite. The people I was rubbing elbows with, literally, because we were in cramped spaces taking drugs, you name it. Since I was already in a span of just a few years, when I was eating Japanese food in Malacanang, flown in from Japan, I was already rummaging food in garbage bins. I was living in the streets. I was living in the squatters area. I had no more job. I lost my house. I lost my car. I lost all my friends because I stopped going with people who were straight.
Oh my
And
God.
all my new friends were all, name it, drug addicts, drug pushers, carnappers, human traffickers, prostitutes, pimps, bukas kotse gang, dirty cops, you know, name it. I was living in a slum area in Harrison, and that's where I met all these people. And I became comfortable with this life. It was a life that, you know, coming from, as they say, you know, people adapt to their situation. So many people got used to this kind of life.
And it
But
becomes
as they
your
say, the
reality.
higher,
It
yeah,
becomes
the
your reality.
higher, yeah, the higher you are, the more painful it is when you drop. Because I was up there, then I dropped down.
Wow.
So I would be sleeping in the streets. I would be sleeping around Ross Boulevard. I would be sleeping in park jeepneys and the sides of churches. And then I would shoplift when I was hungry because I had no money. And I, you know, I just disappeared from the scene.
So
I
you
stopped
weren't in
doing
touch with your parents anymore?
no more.
Did
No,
they disown
nothing.
you or something?
As I said, when I would be hungry, I would shoplift in the groceries, and many times I got caught. I would be arrested. I mean, I experienced being arrested so many times and thrown in jail. And there was one time I was almost executed by a drug syndicate member. So this became my life. Okay?
Wow.
This became my life, and as I said, it reached to a point where sometimes when I was really, really hungry, I would look for thrown fast food packs that were thrown in garbage bins, and I would try to look for food that wasn't, or it was probably half eaten. Then, yun ang kakainin ko para lang mawala yung gutom ko. So it was like, you know, from top to bottom thing. And then, but then again, alam mo naman, Marites, everything has a purpose, right? So I was in this situation for 16 years, and I went to rehab for 1 year. Actually, the 21 years is my clean time, not my rehab time. The
Okay.
21 years is my clean time since the year 2000 when I completed my rehab.
Up to now. So that's really you
Up to
are
now,
on the,
yeah.
yes, yes. Oh my God.
Yes, so not
God.
a drop, not uh,
Not a single drop
anything,
of
no drugs, as if
no alcohol. So no alcohol
yes,
also.
nothing.
No alcohol.
Alcohol, social.
Okay.
I have to admit, social drinking. Anyway,
oh my God, what
okay,
a wonderful
so-
story. So Lito, I know this is becoming so exciting. Mga kaibigan, let's hold off for a bit. In the next few minutes, we're gonna go for a very, very short break, and let's continue for another the continuation of the revelation of Lito. So Lito, I know you have something there. Hold off for a bit. It's getting exciting, mga kaibigan. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have maybe similar story from your family or friends that you can share, do so. Type it down here below, and we will also be, you know, sharing this to our community. So hold off a bit, Lito. We'll be right back after this very, very short intermission. Okay, so welcome back mga kaibigan. We are back here to our interview with the great Lito Gruet, mga kaibigan. Oh my God, I was just so fascinated with your story. Lito, oh my God, that was like amazing. So I know you were saying something earlier before we were about to go for a break. What was your defining moment that I have to change? This is not me. What happened? Continuation, please.
Okay, so
mga kaibigan, we should have a book with this, you know?
So you know, I do not regret everything that happened because it is now powerful stories and testimonies,
Correct.
which I use now when I talk to children, and when I address drug addicts in rehab. You know, I talk to them about real life stories about what I went through. So anyway, to make a long story short, you know, I was arrested many times. I came up in the front page when I was arrested in Cagayan de Oro. I'm sure they're going to flash it on the screen.
Yes.
When I was at front page, so it was really a time wherein my family was once very proud of me. They were so embarrassed because, you know, before I used to come out front page in covers of magazines like Mr. and Miss, and now I'm front page of it says Lito Gruet. Actor Lito Gruet arrested for Cebu.
Wow.
So it reached a point wherein, you know, they would not know how to react when they would be asked, like, how are you related to this Lito Gruet? So, but then again, everything happens for a reason, and I do believe this had to happen because now I have a purpose in life. So now I feel grateful and blessed that this thing happened to me because now I have a purpose in life. I have something to share. And something which I could probably warn children and their parents about the dangers of drug abuse. So I was doing so many crazy things, and I was never bothered. I was never scared. Even if there was a gun pointed in my head, you know, it was that kind of addiction, that kind of bondage that drugs had over me, especially Cebu.
Wow.
Nothing really bothered me because even right after my court hearing, when I was arrested, the moment I left the courtroom, I went straight to my friend Pusher's house. You know, it was like that.
Wow.
Hard-headed, stubborn.
Yeah.
So fast forward until the year 1999. My mom was very sick already. She was dying of cancer. And, you know, I found myself stealing money from her, the only money she had, which was used to buy medicine for her treatment. So I would insist that I would buy the medicine. And even if she was very reluctant, I would still say, ako na lang, ako na bibili. Tatakbo ko sandali lang. And she would say, no, you're not going to come back. I said, I'm going to come back. Then I will get the money, leave, and I won't be seen for about a week.
Wow.
About a week, or, you know, until I was staying in my uncle's house, and, you know, Tony Rojas, may he rest in peace, he just passed away. He's my second father. He was the one responsible to put me into rehab because one time when I came home, he had to talk to me. He goes, Lito, you know, you have to do something about your addiction. I don't want to impose anything on you, but then maybe you could consider rehab. And because you're killing your mother. Cancer is not killing your mother. You are the one killing your mother because you do not see her suffering when you're not here. She's scared to open the TV, you know, scared that she might hear some news about you. You might have been arrested. You might have been killed.
Oh
you know, all this stress is happening. And, you know, that's when I said, okay, I would give rehab a chance because I never believed in rehab. So I said, okay, I'll just to appease them, I'll do it. Gagawin ko lang para lang masabi na nag-rehab ako. But deep inside, I knew, hindi ako, muntik na ako pinatay, hindi pa ako nagbago. What about, you know, what's rehab? I said, you know, I'm just going to do it for them. But when I went to rehab.
You become.
Huh?
That's how you have become, like, even when you are so stubborn to, like, the change was very difficult.
Complete change. Complete, you know, it was, you know, I was not the son that they recognized anymore. My mom saw me differently. But then when I went to rehab, that's what changed my life completely. I went to DARE. It's already closed now. It's not operating anymore, but then DARE taught me a lot. I became a center director for 10 years because of that. Because when I was in rehab, so many people don't understand rehab. They think that rehab is like, it's like a punishment, or, it's only a means so that you'll meet other addicts there, and increase the network. No, it's not true. With the rehab, there's a program, and when you have the program, you will learn about, the things that you've been doing. You see other people who are like you, and you see the pain that they're causing to their families, and you see how destructive their life is, and you reflect on yourself and say, this is me. This is who I am. So I decided to, become a staff, and I became center director for 10 years. And I dedicated my life from that time on. As I said, from the year 2000 until this moment, I said, I am going to try to make a difference, and I have become a drug abuse advocate. That's why before the pandemic, I was invited in so many schools, especially in Cebu, because I would be talking to the children about the dangers of drug abuse. And that's my calling. That's my calling, and I miss it so much because of the pandemic. There's no face-to-face, but
at least you can go virtual like this, right?
Yes, virtual, but it's different. It's different, yeah. But then you have to adapt. You have to adapt. But then,
what about a book? What about a book about your life? Do you it's a beautiful story. You can make it as a movie. What do you think? Has it come out into your system that maybe, we can make this as a story?
Well, several friends of mine brought up the idea, but then, I said I don't know where to start and how to go about it. But then, you see, in 16 years, there's so much stories to share.
Well,
about there's so many stories. But then again, it's always the ending that's the most beautiful part.
Yeah, but
because right now I believe that I have been redeemed.
Yes.
And everything that I've done, I've made up for it already, because now it is my advocacy to try to help people. Like, you save one child from drug addiction and you save the entire family.
Exactly.
And sadly, here in the Philippines, I know it's not like London or any other first world countries where they pay really good. They pay good money for speakers.
Yes, yes.
But here in the Philippines, it's more like,
it's a charitable thing. It's a charity thing.
It's charitable, yes. It's certificates and all that, which is really, good, because that is why it's an advocacy. It comes from the heart.
Yeah.
But then there should have been more speakers, people who would really get into it, if only paid well. But for me, I'm not really, the money helps, but then again, it's like priority is the advocacy, helping people first.
Yes. But I think I'm telling you, it's just really like a wonderful, I think the calling, because no one else there around to speak about the effects of the drugs, how it affects, it's a menace to the society after, once one is like that, because it could affect someone else. So no valuable speaker is around, except for someone who has been there, like yourself.
Yes, exactly.
So that's why it's a very valuable thing. I mean, like what I said, I would have hoped one day we'll be seeing your story in a book, your story and perhaps in a movie, maybe a series of it. You said you don't know where to start, but hey, it's gonna start with, say, like a video, I remember on this day, that this is where I am and everything. And I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time. Podcast, talks like this. Thank you so much for trusting your story. My other question is, what would you like to say, if you're asked to give an advice, to say, there's a lot of kids out there, the parents are so wealthy, they're given, in fact, a free hand to spend, and these drugs are just so accessible to them. Are there such a thing called an occasional user, a casual user, or just don't touch it at all, like just don't begin to even try it?
Okay, I go back now to the very beginning, when all children, when they were young, they were asked what they wanted to be. when they grew up, and nobody wanted to become an addict or alcoholic. But this is what happens. And this is the trap that's going to happen to people who will try to experiment. So from the very beginning, it is, this is what I tell the parents, especially with the children. Prevention is the best cure. And education is the one that helps your children, learn more about avoiding, because the parents who are unaware of the dangers of drug abuse will not be able to detect or prevent, or let's say do something about the addiction, because they're not aware that their children are going through it. Okay? And there are parents that are enablers also. They know that their children are with the wrong company and doing the wrong things, but then they allow it to happen. Maybe they don't have the time. Or maybe they're not really hands-on parents, and they believe that providing for them with money and financial assistance and material wealth is enough to cover for them not being hands-on. Sometimes they come from dysfunctional families. And there's so many factors involved. So I tell the parents, first thing is that you educate yourself. When you talk about sex education to your children, it's exactly the same thing, because you want them to know to make, let's say, mature choices and informed choices when it comes to sex education. Exactly the same thing. You have to study about drug abuse, and so that you will have the authority to be able to educate your children and warn them. Because children are so exposed nowadays, as you said, it's a digital and online world now. You have no control about what's happening. So if you educate yourself and you know about the dangers, and let's not forget about the crime issue. People and parents tend to forget that they think it's a drug. Maybe they're just using it occasionally. No, it's always going to get worse and worse, because the dangerous part is they forget it's a crime. There is a law against illegal drug use.
Exactly.
And when you use drugs, you break the law. When you break the law, you commit a crime. And when you commit a crime, you go to jail. And that's when the real problem comes, when you deal with dirty cops, extortionists, you have to pay for the judges, you have to pay for so many other things. So, and you're dealing with criminals. Parents who are enablers tend to forget that the criminal environment that children are moving around in, like me, I know, will be brought straight to their doorstep.
Wow.
Right? They forget that it's a crime. When someone's into drug use, they are interacting with other criminals.
That's right.
Okay, so that is one thing they should remember. Second is that I tell the parents, know who your children's friends are, because that will be your basis as to what kind of friends your children have. Because that will be a basis already. Because if you know the background of the friends, if they are drug users or if they are party goers, irresponsible party goers, then you already have a red flag.
That's right.
Okay? And you need to educate yourself, because then there will be signs. You will know when there are changes, that your child has changes in interest, changes in mood, changes in even in appearance, right? And all of a sudden the grades in school are falling, and then they're always absent and all that. That's the time to talk to the teachers.
Wow.
So it's really a whole thing you have to discuss, which is what I share when I talk to them, because I have talks just specifically for parents and also for children, for the students, because I tell them, the danger is real. There's so many stories that we know that very tragic that's been happening, and we always tend to think it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my child.
Yes.
It's not going to happen because it's just occasional. But then, what happens is that, like me, I never wanted to become a drug addict, but look what happened.
Exactly.
It was never in my plan. I wanted to become a successful architect, and I wanted to become a model. I wanted to become an actor and everything, but then I ended up in the streets.
Exactly.
So it is very real, and my story is not an isolated case. You hear it everywhere.
Hey, what's your opinion about this? When you travel all around, say here in Europe, I was in Greece last month. I was in Prague last week. You can just walk into a store because the marijuana there is you can just buy the marijuana. What is your take on that one? I believe in the US there are some states that's already marijuana is allowed to be used.
Yes.
Do you see it coming to the Philippines? And if so, how would be the effects of that? I hope so. It will not come to the Philippines because not here in Dubai, but oh my gosh, in Greece and in Prague, that's what I saw. You can just walk in. There's a store, a kiosk, and you can buy.
Yeah, like in Amsterdam, it's legal.
Exactly.
In Amsterdam, you can go to a park and use drugs as long as the government would provide for the syringes, the injections, so that they won't be sharing needles and acquire AIDS. And it's crazy. But then again, different countries have different regulations.
Yes.
In the Philippines, what is being allowed now is the medical marijuana. Okay.
Okay.
In those other countries, they're more open, they're more liberal, so they do sell recreational marijuana.
Okay.
Right. And the difference between recreational marijuana is that when you smoke the recreational marijuana, it is a hallucinogenic. It alters. It is a mind-altering substance. It affects your motor system, your reaction time. You start to hallucinate, and these are the effects that are caused by recreational marijuana. That there's a short-term effect, there's a long-term effect where even the memory is going to be affected.
Yeah.
So in the States, there are some states that allow this, but only limited. You can only buy it limited as long as you don't buy enough to sell it like a business. Now, in the Philippines, what's being allowed now is the CBD, which is cannabidiol. Right? The difference between the medicinal marijuana is that they remove the chemical THC, which is tetrahydrocannabinol. The THC is the chemical that is present in the marijuana leaves which is smoked. And this is the one that causes hallucinations. This is the one that is addicting. But with CBD, they remove this chemical. That's why marijuana, the medicinal marijuana is actually very good because it does cure anxiety. It helps epilepsy and you have so many other uses for it.
For as long as it's medically prescribed.
Medically correct.
Yes,
medically prescribed. Right. Yes.
But I think for me as a mother, and to our viewers right now who has children as well, the fact of the matter is going to take some time when somebody says, hey, the words marijuana and drugs is really a very sensitive matter, especially in our country, the Philippines, that maybe it's going to take a while before, or however the West has done it. It may be very, it takes some time for the Philippines to adapt as well. Now, Lito, question, is there anything else that, so the journey of your life is so fascinating. Thank you so much for your story. It's really like, it's opened up our eyes and, oh my gosh, I mean, seeing you right now, you are so, so very fluent. You're so full of life. You're so full of all these, insights, especially with the, anything to do with drug rehabilitation, caring for those who, like what you said, you are the most sought speaker for this subject, because you've been there. In terms of the happy moments of your life, can you sort of like share, like, how did the pandemic, like, I know everyone was struggling, was suffering, a lot of people, a lot of us, in fact, pivot as well from what we usually do. I mean, like this TV show just came because of pandemic. Otherwise, we would be meeting our clients online, face to face, and everything. And we just sort of like go through it in life, as it comes. people, and most people that I knew, they just say, hey, we don't really like plan for the future anymore. We just like say, hey, you know, we just like live for the time being for now, because we don't know when and how this virus is going to affect us. How was that experience to you? You know, when the virus started, the first few months was a shock to everybody. But then I'm sure, you know, living with it now, and as we speak at the moment, how did this I would say, like, the reset button to everybody because of the pandemic, how did it affect your life now? Was there like a aha moments or the wake up moments that this is what I'm gonna do next, you know, forward?
Well, I guess we all share so many tragic stories about the pandemic. My wife lost her mother last year, and we couldn't go home. We're in Dumaguete now because we got locked down here after I did a talk in Silliman University when I guested there. Afterwards, we got locked down, and we decided to stay. So we've been here in Dumaguete for about a year and 9 months already, because we bought a small condo unit for investment, and we were furnishing it, and we ended up staying here. We didn't go home to Cebu yet. So, but
Well,
anyway,
same thing as here. We just flew with a suitcase last July here in London.
Yes.
And now, you know, we're in London for those number of months now. Okay, so you stayed in Dumaguete for the time being, or you're gonna be thinking of moving back to Cebu later?
we're going back to Cebu very soon.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, the sad part is, I guess everybody, again, we have our own tragic stories to share. We have lost so many friends and loved ones because of the pandemic. And, you know, even though it's very painful and difficult to accept, this has already become, let's say, something regular. It's a fact of life. And we just have to learn how to deal with it and take care of ourselves. So in many aspects, we really have to, we have to learn to become responsible for our health and for the health of other people. And you can see how the world has been adapting and changing. And I really do believe that in the end, we will all be okay. This is just a phase which we're going through. And just like all the other dark moments in our history in the past, you know, humankind has always been able to do something and overcome the challenges. So we just need to adapt to whatever comes our way. We cannot give up. I mean, in my case, there's so many times I could have been killed already, and you know, it's like
here, flesh. Never give up.
Why will I let the pandemic affect me? Okay. Even the vaccination, so many people were saying, you know, you're not scared to be vaccinated. You don't know that you don't know what's in the vaccination. I said, look, for 16 years I've been poisoning my body, my mind, and my internal organs with drugs. I said, why should I be scared of?
That's right.
I said, so it's I've learned not to be too scared about it.
Wow.
But careful. But still careful.
Within reason, within reason. Yeah. So what is next for Lito Gruet with all your projects right now? You know, from your relocation to the Dumaguete temporarily, you're gonna go back to Cebu. Are there any projects that you're gonna be spearheading after this, or you know, and do you have any programs that you would like to announce so we can tell our viewers to please come and check out your channels?
Okay, I'm a member and volunteer of the People's Volunteer Against Illegal Drugs. That's called PVAID. It's running for a party list now. So for those of you, who want to help in fighting drug abuse, you know, let's all support PVAID for it.
Can you please state again? Sorry, Lito, can you just please spell it again? This is the party list. Is it
people? Yeah.
People, okay.
People's Volunteer Against Illegal Drugs, PVAID.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also a volunteer at the moment, but who knows, maybe in the future I'll be working for another rehab, which is called Safe Haven. It's a rehab in Cebu. It's a
Okay.
Christian rehab. And well, I'm a volunteer of so many,
So many.
yes, yes.
Well, you are the guy. You are the guy. No one else. So okay, when you talk about the party list, are you actually running for the party list position?
No, I'm just supporting. I'm just
You're
supporting the
supporting.
group.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you are not running for office of that kind.
No, no, no.
No. Okay.
No, politics is not for me.
Kakampanya na kita eh. Wow, so it's an amazing story, and it's like, it's very different when you just see things like this on, I don't know, on stories, or you read you read somebody else's life. But when you're with someone right now sharing it, these things just keep flashing into my head. And for you to be here, like what you said, you never gave up. There were moments in your life that you're nearly there, and yet you never give up. So mga kaibigan, that's really the lesson for today, is that, like what you said, you just keep moving. You just keep moving, have the purpose in your life, which is going to be my sort of finale question to you, Lito, in terms of talking about your mission in life. From now, after being sober, you said 21 years, what would be your I would say your upcoming mission in the coming 22nd, the year 2022 and beyond?
Well, I do believe that I recovered for a reason and for a purpose. And again, sometimes when we encounter challenges in life, sometimes when we fall down, we think that, so many things are going against us and you were unlucky, and, but then again, we don't really see that actually it's just a lesson that we are being taught. All these experiences that I have seen, it's at the back of my head. These were all tragedies and very sad stories which I encountered. I saw children being prostituted. I saw babies being offered as collateral for drugs, or for all I know, they were being sold. They were kidnapped and they were sold. I've encountered all these things, and it's very painful. And at that time, I didn't realize that because I was really deep into drugs, and I didn't feel anything about seeing this. It became very normal. So when you get into that world of drugs, these things become normal. You see a carnapper, like now when you see, you go to the streets and you see somebody just following you, you get scared already. But imagine you are moving around that environment wherein, a carnapper is just your friend.
It's your world. It becomes
it becomes your world. And
Wow.
and I'm grateful that I experienced that, and now I'm out of it, and all the more I can share it. So all this pain, all this suffering, and all this realization is now what I use to be able to send the message to the children to never really try. And that's really my focus, to stop addiction by educating the children while they're still young.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult when they've started already.
Exactly. In fact, I know I said that's my finale question for you, but then may I just ask whether, would you say that then and now, the drug addiction situation in the Philippines, I'm not sure if you have the figures or you have the data for that, is it better now than then to now? Is it more controlled? What do you think?
Well, I don't have the figures, but then again, it's very difficult to say whether the previous administration is better, or the current administration is doing a better job. It's the thing is, it's different because we base everything on the news. We base everything on what we read in the papers.
Yeah, what we see in social media.
In actuality, behind the scenes, it's still the same. There's so many, even during the pandemic, you have addicts. They would risk going out and trying to find drugs, even if there's a risk of getting the virus. maybe the pandemic, let's say, lessened it a bit, right? By force. But then again, as I said, we do not actually know what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Things that are not being reported, because ever since, even during the late 80s, we know for a fact that sometimes what they report is not what actually happened.
That's right. Yeah. So it's
sometimes they have big grades. They have big grades. They rate such a big amount. They say, "Oh, we were able to confiscate 100 kilos of shabu, but then actually it was 200 kilos." So
the
we
PR.
were able to arrest this drug supplier, but the drug lords remain free because they're protected. Right? So all these things, it's very difficult because sadly, drug money is really used to be able to, well, since time immemorial, drug money is used sometimes to finance political campaigns of some people. Not all. There, I can't speak for all, but there are some. So it's a very difficult thing to defeat or to stop. I don't think it's going to stop. Drug abuse is here to stay. So the thing is at an early age, let's help the children.
Yeah, the education and everything.
Educate the children and educate the parents.
Yes, yes. So, Lito, thank you so much for this. Any few last words? Where can they see you? Can they come to you? Can a parent come and see you for, say, a consultation? Can they tap your services privately, so that if they are going through right now, because I knew some family members, has maybe some children going through like this right now, do you offer services to them just so you have some consultation with the children? Do you do it privately, or do you have to do it through your organization? And how can they reach you?
Well, all they have to do is message me in my Facebook page under Lito Gruet. It's open. And they can message me about their concerns. And if I cannot personally address the problem, then I know people and I know organizations which can help.
So, but being a consultant or like somebody, because sometimes that's what they do, right? They just would like, how would I say this? How would I frame this? There are some families out there that they are very sensitive and they would like to retain some privacy.
Yes.
So would you?
Everything is confidential. Yeah. Yes. Everything is confidential.
Do a private consultation with them as well as your personal. Yes. Okay. So mga kaibigan, take it from the man himself, the man who has been there and has written up to become a very, very valuable source of our strength. And it's really, you're so right. Education is the key. Right from the start, you mold the brains of our little children. Maybe our viewers right now has some young children or grandchildren, so guide them along the way to do. And like what you said, just don't touch it, just avoid it at all costs. Don't start. Don't ever start. So
just to be careful. They have to be careful with their friends, because the very first supplier is not a drug dealer. It's a friend. It's a friend that introduces you into drugs. It's a friend that gives you the drugs first. So that's why the parents have to be very sure who their children are hanging around with, right?
Wow.
Because the children will not go out and look and say, I want to experiment on drugs. I want to look for a drug pusher and buy. Of course, that's not going to happen. It's always a friend. It's always through a friend.
Yeah. And sometimes, you refuse to believe because the friend is like a family friend.
Exactly. And that happens, yes. That happens so many times.
Yeah, you put that barrier that no, they're not going to do it. Or, it's just like, that is why, you know, programs like this, information like this, Lito, is so valuable. Thank you so much for coming to our show. Maybe we can have a part 2 next time.
Yes. Oh.
You know, you can just leave your information, numbers, or questions to Lito over here. And Lito, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It's such a great honor to have you in my show. And mga kaibigan, until next time, I'll see you again for our Wednesday show. I'll actually be on a show live with USA Global TV. I'm gonna be shooting it from Italy on Wednesday, and of course the Filipino TV Europe at the same day. So you're gonna be seeing me at 8 p.m. Manila time and 10 p.m. Manila time on Wednesday, and on Friday for my Friga Fashion Fridays. So I'll see you, everyone. I love you all. Thanks, Lito.